Have you ever walked into a room and noticed people turn their heads, but not for you? What if I told you that your body, yes, your actual physique starts speaking long before you do, and it's telling a story you might not like? Here's the uncomfortable truth. Your body is either your greatest ally or your loudest enemy, and most men have no idea just how much it's shaping their lives. Let's dive into the power of the male physique. This isn't just about lifting weights, building muscle, or looking good in a tight shirt. It's about presence. It's about unspoken power. It's about the energy you radiate before you utter a single word. A strong, well-maintained body isn't a vanity project. It's a silent proclamation to the world that you possess discipline, focus, and self-worth. And trust me, women notice. Welcome to Seduction Psychology, where high-value men come to level up their appearance, their mindset, their relationships, and most importantly, their identity. Number 1, physical strength breeds mental strength. Your body isn't just a vessel for muscle, it's a direct portal to mental toughness. Every time you force yourself through a grueling workout, every time your arms tremble from effort but you push one more rep, you're not just training your muscles, you're training your will, you're forging grit, you're rehearsing resilience. Mental strength isn't built in a vacuum. It's not just cultivated by reading self-help books, journaling, or meditating under dim lighting. It's carved under tension, through sweat, and inside pain. Think about it, the most disciplined men in business, sports, leadership, they all integrate fitness into their routine. Why? Because physical training is the training ground for the mind. It teaches consistency when motivation dies. It forces you to get comfortable being uncomfortable. And in that discomfort, your real strength is born. Most people have it backward. They chase mental mastery first and treat the body like an accessory. But the reality, a trained body becomes a weaponized mind. A man who can push his physical limits learns that he can also push through fear, setbacks, doubt. Picture this. You just crushed a tough gym session. Your muscles ache, but your thoughts are crystal clear. Your spirit is locked in. That's not just post-workout euphoria. That's mental armor forged by physical strain. So ask yourself, how often do you voluntarily choose discomfort? Every rep, every run, every round you fight through is planting a seed of resilience in your psyche. That is the real value of strength. It's not the size of your biceps. It's the sharpened edge of your will. Number 2, your body is a silent marker of your life. Habits. Your physique is a living mirror. It doesn't lie. It doesn't flatter. It reflects your choices with brutal honesty. Every skipped workout, every late-night binge, every excuse, they all show. And the opposite is true too. Discipline, consistency. Healthy boundaries, they don't need to be announced. They're displayed in how your chest sits, in how your waist tapers, in how your shoulders align. See, most men think fitness is about going hard for a few weeks, cutting carbs, and flexing in a mirror. But true transformation happens over years. It's not built in bursts of motivation. It's built in boring repetition, in daily non-negotiables, in showing up when no one's watching. You don't need to tell the world you're committed to growth. Your body does it for you, without a word. When you see a man in shape, you know he's saying yes to discipline and no to comfort every single day. You know he's intentional. You know he's practiced. And that makes him trustworthy, not just in fitness, but in life. So if you want to change your story, start by changing your body. Make your physique a silent symbol of the life you're building. When your body starts aligning with your values, people don't need an explanation, they feel your presence. Number 3, your physique controls your energy more than you realize. Let's talk about one of the most underrated superpowers a man can have: sustainable, magnetic energy. Now, you might think that getting fit is all about looking good, posting gym selfies, or bench pressing an impressive number. But if that's all you see, you're missing the most potent benefit of all. Here's the truth. No one tells you. Your body is a generator of energy. And how well you treat it determines whether you're running on fumes or running the show. Let me ask you this. Have you ever had one of those days where you drag yourself out of bed, feel foggy by noon, snap at someone over nothing, and barely have enough juice left to get through a conversation, let alone a date or a deadline? Now ask yourself something even more important. How often does that happen to you? Because if low energy is your default, it's not your lifestyle. It's your body sounding the alarm. See? When your physical condition is weak, everything slows down: your thoughts, your mood, your movements, your charisma. You slump into the day like it's a burden. You don't radiate presence. You evaporate it. But when you train your body, when you fuel it, move it, stretch it, and recover it with purpose, everything changes. Suddenly, you're alert, sharp, alive. People feel your energy before you say a word. You don't have to act confident. You naturally embody it. And women, they sense this shift instantly. There's something unmistakably attractive about a man who's fully present in his body. It's not the size of his muscles, it's the quality of his vitality. He doesn't just look alive, he feels alive. And that creates gravitational pull. I'll give you a real story. One of my clients, Mark, was in a high-stress corporate job. Long hours, tight deadlines, endless Zoom meetings. By 5 p.m., he felt like a shadow of himself, drained, irritable, disconnected. He tried productivity hacks, brain supplements, meditation apps, but nothing stuck. We didn't start with mindset. We started with muscle. 3 strength sessions a week, clean nutrition, dialed in sleep. Within 6 weeks, just 6 weeks, his entire reality changed. His energy spiked. His voice carried weight. His eyes lit up again. People started listening more. Women started responding differently. He didn't become someone new. He became who he really was, just finally unlocked. Why? Because energy is the currency of presence, and presence creates attraction. This isn't magic. It's biology. When you train your body, your testosterone levels increase. Your blood flows more efficiently. Your posture straightens. Your breathing deepens. Your voice becomes more grounded. Your stress tolerance expands. All of these changes aren't just internal, they're perceptible. People notice even if they can't explain why. You command more attention. You create more momentum. You operate in a higher frequency. And here's the stoic angle. A man who cultivates energy isn't a slave to emotions. He's not reactive. He's steady, intentional, present. He can carry the burdens of life with grace, not because life got easier, but because he got stronger. Marcus Aurelius reminded us, you have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this, and you will find strength. Your energy is not given. It's not random. It's something you build. And a strong body builds the foundation for mental clarity, emotional poise, and purposeful action. But here's the kicker. Energy leaks are everywhere. Skipped workouts, junk food binges, late nights on your phone, chronic stress, shallow breathing. These things don't just make you tired, they erode your presence. And presence is how people decide whether they trust you, follow you, or are drawn to you. When a woman sits across from you and senses tired eyes, weak posture, shallow energy, no matter what words you say, the message underneath is, I'm not fully here. That doesn't create desire. That creates distance. But when you walk into the room with upright posture, open chest, slow, controlled breathing, and eyes that signal alertness that communicate something primal, this man is grounded, alive, in control, and that, my friend, is magnetic. So the real question is, are you building or draining your energy each day? Every decision is either fueling your masculine vitality or weakening it. A stoic man knows this. He doesn't chase dopamine. He builds discipline. He sleeps with intention, eats with awareness, trains with purpose, because he understands the deeper game. The quality of your energy is the foundation for the quality of your life. So if you've been feeling off, uninspired, out of sync, don't just rest more. Rebuild your vessel. Build the body that fuels your soul, because the man with high energy wins every time. Number 4, your physique shapes. Every interaction before you speak. Let me ask you a hard but necessary question. How do people treat you before they even know your name? Before you say a word, before you smile, shake a hand, or make your case? People have already made a decision about you. Now that might sound unfair, but it's true. And it's not because the world is shallow. It's because the world is wired. Human beings, especially women, are biologically and psychologically trained to make snap judgments. And one of the most immediate signals they pick up on your body, not your brand name clothes, not your haircut, your physique. Because your body sends signals loud, deep, instinctive signals about who you are, how you live, and how seriously you take yourself, your posture, your frame, the way you enter a room, the presence you carry. These are all forms of communication, and trust me, they speak louder than any words ever could. And whether you like it or not, your physique determines the baseline respect others are willing to offer you. Now don't get me wrong, this isn't about vanity. This isn't about flexing muscles or puffing your chest to impress others. This is about reality, human nature, primal psychology. A man who looks like he takes care of himself, who walks with strength, who holds eye contact, who breathes with calm confidence that man is treated differently. Period. It's not because he demands attention, it's because his energy commands it. Let me tell you a real story. One of my coaching clients, Daniel, was an incredibly kind, intelligent man. He had strong values, solid skills, and great intentions. But he constantly felt overlooked in meetings, in friend groups, in dating. Why his presence didn't match his potential. He slouched. His body looked tired. His voice was soft. He didn't realize it, but his physical cues were quietly telling the world, "Don't take me seriously." We didn't change his personality. We didn't teach him tricks. We focused on the basics: strength training, nutrition, breath work, posture. Fast forward 3 months. People started leaning in when he spoke. His coworkers asked for his input. Friends introduced him proudly. Women reacted with curiosity instead of indifference, all without him saying anything different. His body started telling the truth about who he really was inside. That's the power of physical presence. When your physique reflects strength, purpose, and control, it alters the dynamic of every social exchange. Think about it. A man who walks with intent, people step aside. A man who stands tall, broad-chested, grounded. He sets the tone of the room. A man whose body radiates self-respect. Others reflect that respect right back at him. This goes far deeper than attraction or image. This is about frame control. When your physical presence is solid, you don't have to fight for attention. You don't have to talk louder, prove yourself, or dominate. You simply exist in authority. And people feel it. Marcus Aurelius once said, "Waste no more time arguing about what a good man should be one." That's what your physique does. It embodies your standards. It shows the world that you don't just talk about discipline, you live it. And people can feel the difference. Here's what most men never realize. There are 3 massive advantages you gain when your physical presence aligns with your internal values. 1. You trigger primal respect. Humans, especially men, are biologically wired to respond to strength, not just brute force, but control, posture, calm, assertiveness. A strong man in the room taps into an ancient instinct leadership. Even in modern society, these instincts haven't gone away. They've just become more subtle. But trust me, they're still active. When your body communicates strength, others instinctively offer deference. They listen closer. They second-guess interrupting you. They take your ideas more seriously. They trust your competence before you've proven it. 2. You set the frame. In any conversation, someone sets the frame. Someone leads. Someone follows. When you build your physique, you stop chasing external approval. You show up already centered, already certain. That certainty is magnetic. It makes others want to follow your lead, not because you ask them to, but because you've earned it through how you carry yourself. Frame isn't created by dominance, it's created by presence. And a strong body gives you that presence. 3. You create instant contrast. In a world full of men who have let their physical standards slide, who drag their feet and shrink their posture, you stand out. Not with noise, not with bravado, but with unmistakable silence. A man who clearly invests in himself radiates contrast. He sends a message of quality, of care, of power. And others respond accordingly. This is why stoicism and physical training are deeply intertwined. A stoic man doesn't brag. He doesn't seek attention. He doesn't demand respect. He lives in congruence. His values and his body are aligned. He understands that integrity isn't just about words or intentions. It's about embodiment. When your outer form matches your inner discipline, people feel it. They believe you. They trust you. And here's the beautiful part. You don't have to fake confidence anymore. You become it. Women feel that. Colleagues feel that. Even strangers in a coffee shop feel that. It's not charisma. It's authenticity. So let me challenge you with this. Have you ever walked into a room and noticed a subtle shift in how people treated you just because of how you stood, walked, or held your frame? If so, that's not an accident. That's your body doing the work. Your voice hasn't even started. And if not, maybe it's time to start showing up as the man you truly are inside, in a body that confirms it. Because next up, we're going even deeper. We're going to explore how your physique shapes the most powerful moment in any interaction, your first impression. And trust me, that one moment changes everything. Number 5. Your first impression starts with your body, not your words. Let's be brutally honest, you never get a second chance at a first impression. We all know this. We've all felt it. But most men still walk into the world unprepared, thinking their words will carry the day, while their body language silently sabotages them. Here's the truth most guys ignore. Your first impression is made long before you speak. In fact, before you even extend your hand or smile politely, the people in front of you have already decided something about you, especially women. And what did they judge you on? Your body, your posture, your movement, your presence, not your resume, not your sense of humor, not even your vibe. It's your physique that speaks first, louder than any clever line, faster than any thoughtful comment. We're visual creatures. We've evolved that way. Thousands of years of primal instinct haven't disappeared just because we live in the age of smartphones and self-help podcasts. We still read bodies before we read intentions. So ask yourself, what is your body saying about you the moment you walk into a room? Does it say confidence, discipline, vitality, or does it whisper insecurity, neglect, and low standards? You see, your body doesn't just exist in space, it broadcasts. It broadcasts energy, commitment, self-respect. It lets people know, instantly, whether you're someone to pay attention to or someone to politely ignore. Let me give you a real-life example. One of my clients, Josh, was a highly intelligent man, well-read, articulate, passionate about personal growth. But no matter how hard he tried, he struggled in first impressions, especially with women. He felt like he had to work extra hard just to earn basic interest or respect. The issue, his physical presence was working against him. Slouched shoulders, poor posture, lack of physical development, no real engagement with his body. Before he even opened his mouth, his body told a story: I'm unsure. I don't fully respect myself. I'm here, but I'm hiding. We didn't overhaul his personality. We didn't teach him pickup lines or charisma tricks. We got to work on his body. 3 months of strength training, daily posture drills, mobility work, and most importantly, consistent discipline. The result: his first impression transformed without him saying a single different word. When he walked into a room, heads turned, conversation started smoother, his voice naturally deepened, his gaze steadied. He no longer felt the pressure to prove anything because his presence was doing that job for him. That's the magic of a trained physique. It speaks for you. And here's the deeper truth. Your body isn't just a shell. It's a signal. A lean, strong, well-postured body sends one clear message to the world: I care about myself. I have discipline. I can be trusted. And that message is priceless, because people aren't just listening to your words. They're reading your alignment. They're comparing what you say to how you show up physically. A man who says he's confident but moves like he's ashamed, no one believes him. But a man who moves like he's grounded, calm, sure, even if he speaks humbly, people listen. That's called congruence. And it's a rare, powerful trait. Now let's get more specific. What are the exact physical cues that create a powerful first impression? 1. Posture is power. A man who stands tall with his chest open, shoulders relaxed but firm, instantly projects strength. He takes up space not to dominate, but to own his environment. He doesn't shrink. He doesn't slouch. He simply is. In contrast, a man with slumped shoulders, even if he has muscle mass, sends a signal of weakness. Women feel it. Men notice it. It matters. 2. Stillness over twitching. A strong body doesn't fidget. It doesn't shift nervously or adjust constantly. It holds space. It breathes with rhythm. It signals I'm in control of myself. I'm not seeking approval. I'm centered, and people trust that energy more than words. 3. Breath is presence. Deep, calm breathing is a sign of confidence. Short, shallow, fast breathing. It screams anxiety. A trained body breathes well because it's open, mobile, and supported by strength. When you breathe with intention, you speak with gravity. Your words land. Your pauses carry weight, and your silence becomes presence. These are not tricks. These are not performance tactics. These are side effects of mastering your physique. Which brings us back to Stoicism. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "Be more concerned with your character than your reputation. Character is who you are. Reputation is who others think you are." But here's the twist. Your physique is often the first translator of your character, and the world rarely gives you time to explain. When your outer frame reflects your inner discipline, you stop needing to justify yourself. You show up. You radiate. You lead, all before a word leaves your lips. And let's be clear, this isn't just about attraction. Yes, women notice, but so do gatekeepers, collaborators, investors, mentors, strangers. You never know who's watching. You never know what impression you're making. But your body, it's talking, for better or worse. So the question is no longer, do first impressions matter? The question is your body making the kind of impression that aligns with the man you want to be? Because you can't speak presence. You must embody it. And when you do, doors open, people lean in, opportunities appear, and you move through the world with a quiet power that doesn't need permission. Here's your challenge. The next time you enter a room, any room, pause for a moment and ask, what is my body saying before I speak? If you don't like the answer, you know where to begin. Because up next, we're going to take this even further. You'll discover how building your body doesn't just shape your first impression, it sharpens your ability to stay disciplined across every area of your life. And that is where real power begins. Number 6, how physical discipline spills into every part of life. Let me tell you something most men never fully grasp. When you build your physique, you're not just building your body, you're building your life. That may sound dramatic, but let me explain. Every time you wake up before the sun to train, every time you choose grilled chicken over junk food, every time you push through one more rep when your muscles are screaming, you're doing far more than just shaping your body. You're forging discipline. And here's the magic. That discipline doesn't stay in the gym. It doesn't stop at your shoulders or your abs. It leaks. It spreads. It multiplies. Discipline, once activated in one domain, becomes a transferable superpower. It starts with the barbell. But it quickly shows up in how you speak, how you lead, how you schedule your day, how you show up in your relationships. Because once you prove to yourself that you can do hard things physically, you start believing you can do hard things everywhere. Here's a simple but profound truth. Physical training rewires your identity. Let me break that down. Most men operate from emotion. They wait to feel like doing something before they take action. But discipline flips that formula. Discipline says, I don't act based on feelings. I act based on values. And over time, this changes how you see yourself. You stop being the man who says, I should. And you become the man who says, I do. Let me give you a real-world example. One of my clients, Eaton, was a brilliant entrepreneur. Visionary ideas, big dreams, but his execution inconsistent. He'd miss meetings, procrastinate on proposals, float between plans. He knew what to do, but he couldn't make himself do it. So we didn't start with productivity tools. We started with physical structure, 3 workouts a week, no negotiations, clean meals, daily check-ins, at first resistance, excuses, the usual. But slowly, like clockwork, his brain began to shift. He started planning his days with precision. His deadlines were met. His mind was clearer. His business started growing. And he started winning not because of motivation, but because of momentum. Why? Because he was no longer depending on discipline as a theory. He was living it as a practice. And that practice shaped his identity. This is what most people get wrong. They think the gym is about six-packs and muscle pumps, but those are just byproducts. The real transformation. It's psychological. It's behavioral. It's spiritual. The power of repetition. When you commit to a training plan, you're telling yourself, I do what I said I would do, even when it's boring, even when it hurts, even when no one's watching. You become someone you can trust, and trust in yourself. That's the foundation of confidence, of consistency, of power. When you say I'm hitting the gym tomorrow at 6 a.m., and then you do your subconscious logs that as a victory. One more piece of evidence that you follow through. Stack that over weeks and months. You're no longer guessing whether you're disciplined, you know it. The gym as a testing ground for life. Now think about this. Every workout is a simulation of life. You face resistance, the weight. You feel fatigue, the burn. You battle excuses, the voice in your head. You get tested in silence, alone, with no applause. Sound familiar? That's life. That's relationships. That's business. That's growth. And every time you finish a workout you didn't want to do, every time you show up and sweat when you'd rather stay in bed, you're building the exact skill set required to thrive in all those areas. Self-control, emotional regulation, delayed gratification, mental clarity, resilience. Mastery over impulse. Discipline is not about perfection, it's about consistency over comfort. When you control what you eat, when you resist the easy option, when you move with intention, you're training yourself to rise above impulse. And here's what's beautiful. Women feel this. A man who has trained himself to delay gratification radiates something different. He's not needy. He's not reactive. He's not chasing. He's anchored. And that anchoring comes from living a disciplined life, one rep, one meal, one decision at a time. Stoicism and physical mastery. The Stoic philosophers understood this deeply. Marcus Aurelius once wrote, "You have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this, and you will find strength." But how do you train that power? Through physical challenge, through waking up early when you don't want to, through lifting heavy when your body protests, through finishing strong when everything inside says quit. When you train your body, you create a battlefield for your mind. And when your mind learns how to win in discomfort, you become unshakable. What women see. Most men don't realize how deeply women are tuned into a man's habits. You don't have to talk about your routines. You don't have to explain your discipline. You simply show up and they feel it. A woman instinctively knows this man is stable. He's not ruled by emotion. He doesn't fold under pressure. He can lead. She feels it in how you walk, in how you handle stress, in how you choose discipline over indulgence. And here's the best part, you don't do it for her. You do it for you, because you respect your future self too much to live soft. You honor your potential too much to negotiate with laziness. And that kind of man, he's rare, he's respected, he's remembered. Final thought for this chapter. So here's the bottom line. If you want to become a man of influence, of strength, of presence, don't just chase discipline in your mind. Build it in your body. Let your training become your teacher. Let the iron sharpen your will. Let your routines bleed into every corner of your life, because the man who owns his body learns to own his mind, own his time, own his mission, and eventually own his destiny. Number 7, your physique reflects your true commitment to self-improvement. You can say you're a man who wants to improve. You can post motivational quotes. You can share your goals with friends and talk about growth in theory. But here's the inconvenient truth. Your body exposes your level of commitment. There are no filters, no excuses, no hiding. Because your physique is not just what you look like, it's the evidence of the life you live behind closed doors. And that evidence is powerful. You see, improvement isn't measured by what you intend to do. It's measured by what you do consistently, especially when no one is watching, and the most visible scoreboard, your body. Imagine 2 men. One says he's working on himself. He reads books. He listens to podcasts. He journals. But his body is tired, slouched, inconsistent, weak. The other doesn't say much, but his physique is sharp, his movements precise, his presence grounded. Who do you believe is more committed to personal growth? Exactly. Because deep down, we know your body doesn't lie. It tells the story of your habits, of your routines, of your discipline or your excuses. Every muscle fiber, every posture line, every breath you take, it all carries the signature of your lifestyle choices. Growth. Without words. You don't need to announce to the world that you're leveling up. You become the announcement. That's what your physique does. It signals this man is focused. This man follows through. This man isn't just dreaming, he's building. One of my clients, Alex, came to me stuck, smart, educated, visionary, but his results inconsistent. He had notebooks full of ideas, but no traction in life. So I gave him one directive: stop thinking, start training. 3 workouts a week. No excuses, no explanations, just execution. At first, it felt unrelated to him, like lifting weights wasn't the answer. But slowly, as his body began to shift, something deeper emerged. He started waking up earlier. He started completing projects. He made bolder decisions. Women began noticing his confidence. And more importantly, he noticed it too. Why? Because he stopped negotiating with himself. He stopped treating improvement like a mood and started treating it like a mission. The body as a symbol. Think of your physique as a flag, a symbol you carry through life. Every drop of sweat is a stitch, every disciplined meal, a thread, every early morning session, a color. And over time, that flag becomes impossible to ignore. It becomes a statement, not of ego, but of integrity. A stoic man doesn't need to prove himself through words. He proves himself through action, through restraint, through repetition, through effort. And his body becomes the silent seal of that work. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "Waste no more time talking about what a good man should be. Be one." Your physique says whether you're doing that or just reciting it. Self-respect is visible. You want to know the #1 way to tell whether a man respects himself? Look at how he treats his body, especially under pressure. Anyone can eat clean when life is easy. Anyone can go to the gym when they feel motivated. But when the storm hits deadlines, heartbreak, stress, what happens then? Does he disappear into comfort, or does he show up anyway? Because the man who trains through the chaos doesn't just gain strength, he forges identity. And identity is the foundation of respect, self-respect, and the respect of others. And yes, women feel it. They don't need a speech about your ambition. They can sense your commitment by how you move, how you carry yourself, how you show up even when you don't feel like it. That's attractive. That's rare. That's real masculinity. You're not just training your body. You're training your standards. Most men think fitness is physical. But here's the reality. Your body is the gateway to your higher self. When you train, you're not just burning calories. You're burning laziness, burning hesitation, burning weakness. You're replacing it with structure, with clarity, with self-governance. You're saying to the world, I'm not available for mediocrity. And that changes everything from how you feel to how people treat you, to the kind of women you attract. Attraction without effort. When a woman looks at a man who is clearly investing in himself, she doesn't just see the surface. She feels the trajectory. She sees a man who is going somewhere, and more importantly, who won't crumble when life gets hard. That makes her feel emotionally safe, energetically attracted, and drawn to his presence without him saying a word. Because here's the deepest truth. A man who is consistently refining himself radiates masculine polarity, and polarity creates tension. Tension creates attraction. Attraction creates connection. And connection built on respect lasts longer than charm ever could. Final reflection for this chapter. So here's your challenge. Stop telling the world what you're working on. Let your body tell the story. Let your posture speak of power. Let your frame show your focus. Let your presence prove your pursuit of excellence. Don't do it for applause. Don't do it for validation. Do it because you are that kind of man. A man who demands more from himself because he knows he's capable of it. A man who doesn't need permission to grow because growth is his lifestyle. A man who lives his truth and wears it on his skin. Number 8, how training your body sharpens. Emotional control. Most men go to the gym for one reason: to look better, to feel stronger, to be more attractive. And while those are all valid, powerful reasons, there's one benefit that quietly outshines them all: emotional control. Yes, you read that right. Your ability to stay calm in chaos, to stay grounded under pressure, to lead with clarity instead of reacting with anger or fear. That emotional strength, it's trained in the gym rep by rep, set by set. Let's take a step back. Stoic philosophy teaches one of the most powerful truths a man can learn. You cannot control external events, but you can always control your response. Epictetus. Now here's the question. Where do you learn to do that? How do you learn to remain composed when stress rises, when things go wrong, when emotions flare? You train it in your body. Every workout is emotional training. When you're lifting heavy, when your muscles are screaming, when your breath shortens, and your mind says, "Quit. This hurts. It's too much." That moment right there is where emotional control is forged. Because if you can breathe, focus, stay present, and push through, you're not just building your body, you're mastering your reaction to discomfort. And that skill, it follows you into every part of life, into traffic, into conflict, into relationships, into failure. Let me tell you a real story. Daniel, one of my clients, was brilliant but short-tempered. He'd snap in arguments. He couldn't handle criticism, especially in relationships. His emotional reactivity pushed people away. We didn't start with therapy. We started with squats. 3 days a week. Brutal, honest, structured training. And over time, something shifted. He started breathing through frustration, started observing his reactions instead of feeding them. He no longer felt hijacked by emotion. He became a man who could stay grounded no matter the storm. Why? Because he practiced it under the barbell. He trained it like a skill. Emotional control is physical. First, modern men are disconnected from their bodies. They live in their heads, overthinking, overanalyzing, overstressing. But emotional regulation doesn't start in your thoughts. It starts in your nervous system. And your nervous system responds to movement, to breath, to structure. Exercise doesn't just burn fat, it resets your neurochemistry. It lowers cortisol, the stress hormone. It boosts serotonin and dopamine, your mood stabilizers. It activates endorphins, your natural painkillers. So when you train regularly, you don't just look better. You feel more in control of your emotions. You're less likely to snap in traffic, less likely to spiral in self-doubt, less likely to lash out when something goes wrong. And when you do get triggered, you recover faster. You don't drown in the emotion, you surf it. Calm is the new power. Let's talk about what women notice. You might think women are drawn to looks first, but the deeper attraction is always emotional. Can you hold tension without cracking? Can you stay composed when things get real? Can you lead through chaos without drama? A man with emotional control is irresistible. He doesn't flinch. He doesn't chase. He doesn't react from insecurity. He leads with clarity. He listens before he speaks. He regulates the energy of the room not by force, but by presence. And here's the key. That kind of presence is built in silence, in sweat, in the moments when your body wants to give up, but you say, "Not yet." Suppression versus mastery. This part is important. Emotional control is not emotional suppression. We're not talking about bottling things up or pretending nothing gets to you. We're talking about ownership. A stoic man feels everything, but he's mastered the art of choosing his response. He doesn't explode. He doesn't collapse. He simply decides. And that ability to decide your reaction, to sit with discomfort, acknowledge it, and move forward is trained in your body. Every time you push through a plateau, stay calm through physical stress, or recover your breath after a hard set, you're reinforcing control. And that makes you dangerous in the best way. The inner-outer link Marcus Aurelius wrote, "If you are distressed by anything external, the pain is not due to the thing itself, but to your estimate of it." In other words, it's not the event, it's how you perceive it. And that perspective is trained in discipline. A strong body reinforces a strong mind, not because it's invincible, but because it's been through fire and didn't flinch. Final reflection for this chapter. So here's what I'll leave you with. If you want to be the kind of man who doesn't get rattled, who leads with peace instead of noise, who speaks with weight instead of volume, train your body. Because when your muscles are forged in adversity, your mind learns to stay cool under pressure, and your presence, your energy becomes magnetic. Not because you're trying to impress, but because you're in control, and that is what separates men from boys. Number 9, how building your body naturally builds unshakable confidence. Let's talk about a word every man wants but few truly understand. Confidence, not bravado, not ego, not loudness. I'm talking about real, earned, quiet confidence, the kind that speaks before you do, the kind that walks into a room and shifts the air. And here's something most men never learn. True confidence isn't built in your mind, it's built in your body. Let that land. Confidence is not a speech you memorize. It's not something you get from compliments. It's not a gift. It's not a mood. It's a result, a byproduct, a consequence of discipline. Confidence comes from evidence. Every time you show up to train when you're tired, every time you finish the last rep when your arms shake, every time you choose fuel over junk, you're stacking proof in your mind. You're telling yourself, "I do hard things. I follow through. I keep promises to myself." That proof builds trust. And trust in yourself is the bedrock of unshakable confidence. Because when you trust your own word, your own follow-through, your own fire, you don't need to prove anything to anyone. You're already convinced. The inner shift, I've coached men for years. I've seen a common pattern. They come in shy, doubtful, hesitant, but as they begin training consistently, something clicks. Their posture changes, their tone changes, their eye contact sharpens. Their walk slows down, not out of fear, but because they no longer rush to be seen. They know they're already enough. They move with purpose, not panic. Why? Because they've done the reps, and no one can take that from them. Let me tell you about Chris. He was nervous around women, passive at work, quiet in conversations. He thought he had a personality problem, but the truth, he had a confidence deficit. So we didn't teach him how to talk. We taught him how to train. 6 months of discipline, structure, hard choices. He gained muscle, yes. But what really grew was his self-respect. He didn't need pickup lines anymore. He didn't shrink in meetings. He didn't over-apologize. He became the kind of man who trusted his own instincts. That's confidence, and it's earned, not imagined. When you trust your body, you trust your voice. Ever noticed how hard it is to speak with conviction when your body feels weak? That's not in your head. It's biological. When your posture is collapsed, when your chest is caved in, when your breath is shallow, your nervous system interprets that as fear, and that fear leaks into your tone, your thoughts, your presence. But when you've built a strong frame, when you walk with balance, when your voice is rooted in your diaphragm, you feel stable, you feel solid. You speak not to seek approval, but to express truth. That's what people feel when they say, "He has presence." Women feel the difference instantly. Here's something you need to know. Women are masters at sensing authenticity. You can't fake calm. You can't fake groundedness. You can't fake embodied confidence. They feel it. When a man enters a space with inner certainty, not arrogance, not force, just peaceful power, it lights something up. He doesn't need to perform. He doesn't chase attention. He becomes the center of it naturally. Why? Because confidence is energetic, and the body is the amplifier. Stoicism and self-mastery. Epictetus wrote, "No man is free who is not master of himself." That's the essence of confidence. It's not about being fearless, it's about having command. Command over your thoughts, over your habits, over your impulses. And that command is forged through effort. You can read 100 self-help books. You can memorize mantras. But if you don't embody what you say, your confidence will always be shaky. The Stoic man doesn't declare his strength. He demonstrates it through consistency, through presence, through restraint. What real confidence looks like? It's a man who shows up even when no one's clapping. A man who leads even when no one follows. A man who keeps his word even when it costs him. A man who looks in the mirror not to admire, but to align. That man radiates something most can't explain, but everyone feels. He doesn't walk into the room wondering if he belongs. He walks in and the room adjusts around him. That's what happens when confidence is built, not borrowed. Final reflection for this chapter. So here's what I want you to understand. Your confidence will never be louder than your discipline. If you want to feel more confident, don't say more. Do more. Earn the right to trust yourself through reps, through sweat, through structure. Because when your body becomes a symbol of commitment, your mind begins to believe that you are exactly the man you say you are. And that belief, that's the loudest, most attractive thing in the world. So stop chasing confidence. Start building it. Number 10, how your physique amplifies respect and deepens attraction. Let's talk about something most men misunderstand. Attraction. Not the surface level, swipe right, nice smile kind, but the deep visceral kind. The kind that pulls a woman in before you've said a single word. Most men think attraction is about status, or money, or looks. But here's the truth. Attraction is energy, and your physique is the amplifier. Let me say that again. Your body is not just muscle. It's not just aesthetics. It's a loud, primal signal of who you are and what you can handle. And in the presence of a woman, that signal matters. Strength speaks to biology. For thousands of years, women have looked for one thing in a man's stability. Not just financial, not just emotional, energetic stability. Can this man protect? Can he lead? Can he stay grounded when the world shakes? And what tells her that faster than anything else? Your physique. It tells her you've conquered yourself, that you don't run from resistance, that you don't fold under pressure, that you've chosen discipline over comfort and you wear that truth on your body. Let me give you a real story. Mark, late 40s, recently divorced, out of shape, he told me. I think I'm invisible now, like I've missed my chance. We didn't start with confidence coaching. We started with the squat rack. 6 months later, everything changed. His shoulders pulled back, his chest opened. His voice deepened not because he practiced it, but because his lungs were stronger, his breath fuller, his presence real. And women noticed, not because of abs, not because of age, but because of energy. He radiated self-respect, and that is irresistible. Masculine polarity attraction thrives on polarity. Masculine and feminine energy pulling against each other like magnets. But when a man lacks presence, lacks strength, lacks groundedness, that polarity disappears. Things feel flat, forced, weak. But when you build your body, when you stand tall, speak slow, move with command, you create polarity. And that polarity sparks chemistry. A strong physique doesn't just say, I'm fit. It says, I'm capable, I'm safe, I'm dominant but controlled. That's the kind of presence that makes a woman lean in instead of pull away. The kind that makes her feel more feminine because you are fully in your masculine. Emotional discipline, sabinsar, sexual energy. This may surprise you, but emotional discipline is deeply attractive. When a woman sees that you can regulate your feelings, stay calm under fire, and make decisions with clarity, she feels trust. Trust creates openness. Openness creates intimacy. And that entire chain reaction, it starts with your body. Because a trained body signals that you have structure, and structure is what feminine energy craves to melt into. No woman wants to lead a man. She wants to lean on one. And when your body radiates strength, not arrogance, but anchored stability, she relaxes. And from that relaxation, true connection is born. Respect without demands. Let's shift gears. This isn't just about dating. Your physique commands respect not because you demand it, but because you've earned it. From other men, from business partners, from strangers. People treat you differently when they see evidence of effort. They can't explain it, but they feel it. They feel the edge. They feel the discipline. They feel the standards. You don't have to raise your voice. You don't have to assert dominance. You just show up and the room shifts. Stoicism in action. This is where Stoicism ties it all together. Marcus Aurelius said, "A man's worth is no greater than his ambitions." And your body. Your body reflects your ambition, plain and simple. Not your dreams, not your ideas, but what you do daily. When you train your body with focus, when you treat your health as a responsibility, not an afterthought, you're telling the world, I hold myself to a higher standard. And people can't help but respect that. Not because you said it, but because you live it. Final call to action. So let me leave you with this. If you want to be respected, show the world who you are without saying a word. If you want to be desired, radiate discipline through your body. If you want to feel powerful, build yourself from the inside out. Not for women, not for applause, not for the mirror, but because you are that kind of man. The kind of man who wakes up and earns it. The kind who doesn't negotiate with weakness. The kind who moves through life like a force silent, steady, sovereign. That man doesn't chase respect. He embodies it. He doesn't beg for attention. He commands it. And it all starts with your body. So here's your challenge. Next time you train, don't just build muscle. Build presence. Build command. Build the man you were meant to become. Because when you do, attraction deepens, respect multiplies, and the world responds.